We're here, but we're on different screens today.
In different time zones.
You are Central Time today, aren't you?
I am in St. Louis.
Oh, so fun. I'm jealous. Tell Melanie that I need to go on the trip with you all next time.
We've had a good time. St. Louis is beautiful. The downtown of St. Louis
Yeah.
is beautiful.
Yeah, it is. We went in the summer, no, spring break. We drove through with the kids.
Gotcha.
And isn't it crazy how like downtown, where the baseball park is, all
Gorgeous.
that's so nice.
And then
But then if you go out
because we are
to
actually in St.
Walk
Charles.
Ranges, okay,
And it's
then it looks like
yeah,
no man's land.
yeah, and it's run down. It's crazy.
Yes. I mean, it is literally looks like everybody's pulled out, just like it almost looks like a war zone
Yeah.
to an extent.
It's super weird.
Yeah,
We did
agreed.
go up in the Gateway Arch. That
Yes, so fun.
yeah, a little sketchy, but
It's kind of, yeah, we took the kids with us and it's like the arch is cool, all of it's nice, but then around you're like,
yeah.
watch my surroundings.
All right.
Okay. Shall we start
I guess.
local?
Local.
Okay.
We're
Do
local.
it. Yes, let's do it. Okay. Next Tuesday, school board meeting.
And they're voting, right?
They are voting on chairman and vice chairman
All right.
of the school board. So the meeting is September 10th at 6 p.m. in the Heritage Room at Central Office. And that, for people that don't know, it's right beside East High School.
Yeah.
So make sure you still have a few days left to get in touch with your school board member and tell them to vote for Johnny for chairperson and Jared for vice chair.
Yes.
Huge.
Huge.
Also, yeah, that would be such a game changer.
Yeah.
For school board. I honestly believe that.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, if you need your Trump gear, signs, all of the things, they have restocked at the Women's Republican, like the GOP headquarters. So you can go and get all of the things.
Yeah, and if you don't know, the GOP headquarters is in with Priceless Foods.
Yes, on technically the East End,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, right
Okay.
past Liberty Hill.
Yeah. So please, please, please go. I think it's so important. We could probably touch on that with this to just share in some form or fashion who you're voting for.
I hung my Trump flag this week on my big on my
Okay.
big pole.
I like it. We've got our yard sign out in the yard by the mailbox. Listen, I just think it doesn't have to be controversial, right? Like wear a hat, put a sticker on your computer, put a yard sign or a flag. I think it's just one showing support. You don't have to be as vocal about it as we are. You can if you want to.
And it might get someone to question you.
Which I think is right. That's the point, right? Like we want people to say, why are you voting for them?
Yeah.
And
it's it's easy. You can easy answer. You can just be like, I really like his policies for the future of my family.
Boom.
What to say?
That's it. One sentence.
Yeah, you don't have to be all diehard with and name them all, and if they say, well, what policy,
Yes.
There's plenty. You can find one or two, whether it's the immigration or anything.
Yes, I totally agree. And it's the 6th of September today. So you have 31 days to make sure you are registered to vote.
Yes.
I cannot stress how important this is.
Yes.
Please. It is so easy. You go on the Tennessee website, tennessee.gov website to vote or to make sure you're registered to vote.
Yeah.
All you need is your driver's license. Less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And you can check and make sure you're registered.
We should put that up in stories today.
Oh, that's it. Okay. We'll tag it. And listen, please, I keep saying this to everybody I see, 3 things in the next 30 days. Make sure you are registered to vote. Register 5 friends to vote.
Exactly.
Or make sure 5 of your friends or family members are registered to vote. And make a plan to early vote. Like, do not wait until election day. Make a plan. What isn't it? I mean, you have like over 2 weeks.
It's like 2.5
Early
weeks.
vote, right?
Mm.
October 16th through the 31st, I think, is the time frame.
Yeah.
So make a plan in those 2.5 weeks to go and vote, because we do not need to wait till the day of by any means.
No.
So, yeah. Okay. I think that's our plug for local, all of the things. But we definitely have to touch on free speech today, because
this is a big one.
It is. And that's the only thing standing in between us and being able to do this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. On my stories this week, I pulled out my Constitution and read
it.
I read the amendment. I'm like, see this right here? That we are guaranteed this. Guaranteed this. No matter what the government says, we are guaranteed this. So anything they do to affect that is against the law.
Well, and this is such a huge one, because look at what is happening in the UK, in Brazil, Canada. Like,
it's insane.
They're literally being arrested.
Yeah.
In the UK, if you put up a Facebook status, a tweet, I don't know, what
they don't like. And now keep in mind, those countries don't have free speech. They don't have the guarantee of free speech.
Right. Which is the point, right?
Yes.
Protecting us from that happening.
Yeah.
But it's wild to me that whoever's running that, whether it be the government or parliament, or they can just sit here and, as the wind blows, flag those Facebook posts and say, I don't like it. Go arrest her.
Yeah. Well, I mean, good grief. I just have no words. So we mainly are talking about France arrested the Telegram, the owner and creator of Telegram.
Huge. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The owner of Telegram, he's actually Russian, but he lives in France. He and his brother started Telegram. If you aren't familiar with Telegram, it's a social media platform that's not censored at all.
Uncensored
and at all.
Yes.
That was the whole goal.
And that's why so many people use it.
Yeah, Telegram got started during COVID, when nothing can be said at all. Everyone joined Telegram because that's where we could get whatever we wanted. I still have friends in my oil business that's use Telegram primarily so that they could talk about any health issues, anything, without being flagged.
I mean, pretty genius.
Yeah, so France arrested him for Telegram for not censoring things they felt like should be censored, and he was sentenced to 10 years.
10 years in prison.
France prison.
And they're basically stating that he should be held responsible for all of the users and all of the content that the users put out, which is wild to me.
So crazy.
How is one person supposed to be responsible for that? And again, I think, and then, to go even further, the Russian government officials have expressed their outrage that he's been arrested, which is weird. Right, because the Kremlin, didn't they want him? They were trying to block Telegram.
Yeah.
And then that failed.
Yeah.
So it is interesting to see the back and forth of that. I think maybe Russia's like coming to their senses.
Yeah, because Russia, didn't we say Russia has offered asylum for
I'm not joking.
I know.
Putin said he will offer asylum to any of us in America, in the West, wanting to leave here, be free in Russia. I don't know how free you are in Russia.
That's what I was thinking. But, all right, so then let's move on to Brazil.
Yes.
So Brazil banned X in the whole country.
In the entire country.
Banned it.
Before they banned it, they wanted Elon to censor content, is what happened, right? They wanted him to censor certain content that was being put out, and he said no.
Yeah.
He was like, I am not the censor police. If it is not illegal, It is fair game. And again, this is what happens when you have a dictator running the country.
Yep, like Brazil.
Like they do. Because again, they rigged the election. They put their opponent in prison.
Yep.
Hence, the dictator wins. And now they have officially closed the X offices in Brazil. I mean, it is straight up blackout.
Yeah.
Like,
and if
people,
you use like an LPN, yeah,
VPN.
VPN. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not right. If you use that to get around to get it, isn't it like an $8,800 fine a day or something?
Per day. Yeah.
It was a weird amount. It was like $88.97 or something stupid.
Yeah. Like less than 9,000 for some weird reason.
Oh, maybe there's some kind of banking situation.
Yeah. But that's wild. So again.
Well, and then in Britain, those judges sent in social media users to prison for messages they posted online during the riots. Those riots that happened in Britain. Britain. So,
and I mean, Britain completely fallen. Like, can we just state this for a second that, do you know, they are the first country in Europe. They are now broadcasting Islamic prayers over the loudspeakers throughout the city 5 times a day.
Wow.
What?
That's insane.
That's crazy.
Yeah, especially for a country that's not their main religion. So that's crazy.
It's interesting that's happening. And so then just full circle this back to again why we want to keep free speech, and it's in our Constitution.
Well, and this also goes back to why so many of us were against the TikTok ban.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of people are like, well, we should want to. It's Chinese owned. And I'm like, but you're missing the point. First of all, if you own a smartphone, your information's out there, so just drop that.
Right. Yeah,
but second of all, this is limiting free speech. TikTok is one of the few, like X, that is not censored.
Yes.
Pretty much at all, unless it's illegal.
No, I mean, you can tell it doesn't dwindle toward election.
And that's where you're seeing the most political activists, I don't know, is on TikTok.
Yeah.
And it's a mix. There's not an algorithm, because I can go on TikTok and scroll and I'm getting stuff for Trump. I'm getting stuff for Kamala. I'm getting stuff for anti them. Like, I'm getting all of it. My feed is not all of a sudden coming all one thing and I don't see anything else. I'm getting everything.
And it's true. If you go to censor or deplatform, one, who's to stop the government from doing that all across the board? And
we're going to come after Christians. It's just going to become a lot, you know.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah, and so regardless of how you feel, we cannot let them. The government cannot take that amendment. You know, the
exactly
First Amendment from.
And so then here comes the interview. Okay, and I guess timeline first, right, is the other week, Mark Zuckerberg comes out in an interview and apologizes by saying that he should not have allowed our government to push him to censor real news.
Yeah.
So that was first. Like, that came out, and we're talking about like the Hunter Biden laptop story that was completely suppressed. Fact check flagged, fake news, the whole game. And it was not fake, in fact, at all. Completely proven otherwise. So he's come out and said this. Trump, I think, even though appreciated, he's come out and said this, has said back, if you meddle in this election cycle and I win, you're going to jail.
Yeah.
Like, there's no, free speech is free speech across the board, like we keep saying. Post what you want to post. So that was said. Telegram guy gets arrested. That whole thing happens. And then Don Lemon sits down with Elon Musk for an interview.
Well, that was a bit ago.
Right. That's happened. I guess it's just resurfaced.
It's resurfaced because that was when he first took over X, like pretty soon after that.
Okay. And so what? Don Lemon is sitting here questioning. It was almost like over and over, like re-asking the same question a different way, hoping that Elon would get the prompt to change his
Dude's the
answer.
flipping genius. He wasn't going to mess him up.
No.
And he's so just like, he got aggravated and you can tell, but still stayed just so even
very
keeled about
matter of fact.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And Lemon was pretty much saying, like, why don't you do content moderation?
He's like, there's hate speech on your platform and there's, cyber warfare and national extremism. And then Elon.
Yeah, Elon's pretty much like, if it is illegal, we will take it down.
So we're talking pornography, any kind of trafficking, child trafficking, drugs,
murder, anything like that.
All of that, as soon as we find it, is immediately off.
Yeah.
But and Don Lemon even tried to say it again. What do you call it? Content moderation. Why do you not moderate? And then Elon says, those words are just a way to say propagandize censorship.
Yeah.
When you say content moderation, that means you are in favor of censorship.
Yeah.
And Don Lemon's like, no, I don't want. And he said, yes, you can't moderate some things
just because it hurts your feelings. Yeah.
Right. You can't have both in free speech. So here we are.
Yeah.
And then Kamala comes out at the end of this week and says basically you can't have different rules for Facebook and Instagram and then X. So she will either shut down X
or arrest Elon Musk.
What? Okay.
I was like, no, you're right. You can't have different rules. There's only one rule. Free speech.
Free speech. Again, this just goes back to personal responsibility in my book. Say what you want to say, both sides. And again, number one, let the people decide. Let the people decipher through what's real and what's not. And I think it's good to have both sides out there.
I agree. I think it comes. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say it makes people have to do their own research.
Yeah.
On both sides of the issue, whatever's put out there to say, okay, let me see what's real, what's maybe people take too far, and then I can figure out and come up with my own opinion based off.
I think that also assumes that people take personal responsibility, and as we see, people don't. We are living in a generation of people that do everything emotionally.
Excuse me.
They do everything emotionally. Yeah. So instead of, obviously I'm old, so I'm Gen X. If I see something I don't like, I'll be like, well, that's annoying. And I scroll on by.
Correct.
But most people currently, they see something they don't like and they turn it into a huge emotional breakdown. Right. They are fighting words. They take out, it's no longer let's discuss.
Well, you said these things and it makes me feel uncomfortable and upset and I'm scared and I don't like it and I shouldn't have to sit in my feelings.
Right.
So you should have to take it down.
Yeah. And I'm like, emotions, there's nothing about emotions in here. The Constitution didn't say anything about emotions. It's just black and white. This is it.
And I read something and it said, you are not responsible for other people's emotions.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't have the energy to deal with other people's emotions towards how they feel about something. We're not supposed to have that much. It's different with your little kids or something, but
because they don't have that moderation yet.
Yeah, you're teaching them how to handle that.
Right. Yeah, how to control themselves and their emotions.
Yeah.
But as for adults, I think that's also a nod to the mental illness problem we have.
Yeah, the root cause. What is the root cause? And we're seeing this across the board with our next topic.
Yes. Just because it's free speech. And again, if you are level-headed, if you are common sense, if you can control your emotions, if you read something or see something or go past something, and it bothers you or you don't like it, you're just like, that stinks or whatever, and then go on.
And that's not to say that you can't say to that person, I really disagree. Let's have a conversation about it.
Of course.
That is what we need, but the emotion has to come out of it. You have to be able to have a conversation or discussion or even a debate and still leave not like so emotionally drained or so stressed that you can't.
Stick to the evidence, stick to the facts.
Right.
You can still discuss why you don't like something, why you don't agree with something. But when you push in the name calling, spewing hate, all of the things that you want to do to somebody because you don't agree, that's when we get so far disconnected and so again, I think that's why so many people, Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr., Vivek, they're switching sides.
Look how many this week switched sides.
Yes, I don't know if it was a senator or representatives, but from California and Texas, Democrats officially switched parties. And, Dana White came out talking about, he's like, I am in the middle. I just want common sense to win. And so when you're sitting here talking about immigration, it's common sense to have control over your border, right? Like, it's common sense when you control the border and you even slow it down. You can filter who's coming in.
Because otherwise we're just taxing cities that can't handle it.
And now look at what's happened. In Colorado, you've got gangs over, running apartment complexes.
Well, did you see in New York City, I think it was like 80% of crime.
Yes.
It was a high number. Was it 80? It was something super high. The crime was committed by illegals, in this short amount of time.
And aren't they also stating, because New York is a sanctuary state, they cannot arrest and keep behind bars the illegal immigrants committing the crimes. That's wild to me.
Crazy.
Again, common sense. When it comes to abortion, we're not here to kill babies.
No.
I mean, if they took the money, the funds that they gave to Planned Parenthood and put that towards, I don't know, one, maybe sex education, two, put it toward helping people be able to adopt babies.
Well, the other thing is, when we go back to common sense, the Democrats are platforming abortion as their reason why they should be put into office, which if people really had common sense, they'd realize that Trump gave it back to the people. If Kamala takes it back, she's going to take it back into her hands. Trump gave that decision to the people. He took it away from the judges, 9 judges, and said, 9 people don't need to make this decision. Let the country make the decision for them. So they're putting their whole stand on something that's going to take those rights away from the people and give it back to one person. I was like, what are we doing? I saw Steph Curry. Did you see his interview? And I'm like, as you are at the Olympics holding all of your babies, you are saying, I'm voting for Kamala. What is your reasoning for voting for Kamala? Abortion. I mean, he said for women's rights to be able to do that. That was his only reason he was voting for her.
But he's also a Christian.
And he was at the Olympics holding his tiny babies.
Big fat negative.
I was just like, what are we doing?
The math.
But I don't understand why they don't see that by giving it to one person versus the people.
Like common sense.
I was like, Trump gave it back to us to make the decision.
It's the same thing with education. Again, common sense. Common sense says those teachers are there to help those students, facilitate them to learn reading, math, science, social studies. Not confuse them and say girls can be boys, boys can be girls, boys can get pregnant. I mean, it is wild
out there.
Public school, man.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Wild.
all of those things. Again, it's just one thing after the other. But bottom line, when you talk about common sense and all of these policies, I think it just comes down to like the majority of the people also want to say you can be or do whatever you want. Let's pause if you're under 18 with some things, because again, you're not an adult. But once you turn 18 and you're adult, you do you. We're not taking away rights. We're not stopping you from, changing your body if you want to.
Right.
But
unless you want a tattoo, that's very rule followed. You can't get a tattoo.
Make it make sense.
In the state of Tennessee, you can't get a tattoo under the age of 18.
So
but you can go and do other things. You can chop off body parts.
Right. So let's just wait till we're all adults.
And then
everybody go their separate ways if you want. And nobody is hating on your decisions.
Exactly.
Nobody is judging you or wants to take that away from you.
Yeah.
It is simply the exact opposite. We don't want the values and principles and opportunities for a small portion of society to be pushed on everybody else.
Right.
That's it. Like, let the government back up. Let the people decide what they want to do, how they want to live their life. And nobody needs to be pushed in any one direction.
Right. Common sense.
Common sense.
Make common sense legal again. No.
Love that.
Maybe we should what is that? What you always said your dad says? Make common sense common. Again.
It's true. Okay. What else do we have? We also have like quick little blurb about Tim Walz's family coming out for Trump. That was wild.
That was.
I mean, I will just say, and again, I think House and Habit touched on it, and we can say the same. I'm not going to sit here and go do a deep dive into Tim Walz's family and why they're voting for Trump. It's the same as like RFK Jr.'s family not supporting him.
Yeah.
And
there's some Trumps that are not supporting him.
Correct.
We've seen like a niece or something. Yeah.
You see that. And so I think, again, that's out there. It can be out there for people to do their own research and come to their own conclusions about.
Right.
Because we have free speech.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, also, what do you want to go next?
Going to Taylor Swift?
Oh, that's good. Do we want to save that till last?
We can.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, let's chat really quickly. School shooting.
Oh, yeah.
Day before yesterday.
Not a high.
That was definitely not a high. Appalachia High School. What? We have a 14-year-old boy coming in to high school, tragically killed 4 people. It could have been way worse.
Yeah.
Not negating or minimizing what happened, but
no.
The SROs were there in place at the high school. They went straight to the shooter, like major props. When you've got somebody with a gun in school and you're just running towards it, like hero status for sure. But they went straight to the shooter, and one of the SROs legit said, "Put your gun down or I'm going to kill you." So he did. He put the gun down. He's in custody. But I think background on this, just, to have your steps up to what happened, right? Because the left loves to politicize this.
And it's always before an election.
Always. Isn't that very strange?
Yeah.
And there was not even a pause the day that it happened, and comments from Kamala's side saying, we support the family. The families, this is tragic. Immediately, it went to gun laws.
Gun control.
Gun laws immediately were in play.
Which is totally missing the heart issue here.
The mark.
Yeah.
Right?
We're missing the mark. It has nothing to do with gun control.
It doesn't. I'm telling you, okay, when you look at this timeline, so in the last 2 years, he's been kicked out of 2 schools for, discipline issues. In middle school, the kid brought a BB gun to school.
Oh my.
Why he's even allowed to continue to be in an actual public school setting and not some like alternative school setting,
Yeah.
we have here is wild to me. He on a gaming platform has already threatened to shoot up the school. That none of that was flagged, triggered. I don't know much about how you would look through that.
Well, I think it's interesting that we know this much information about a 14-year-old shooting this week.
Well, and because the FBI division in Atlanta came out and said last year we even went and questioned him and his family because of things that had been happening, threats that he had been making. Again, why he was not put in some alternative school, scenario is wild to me.
Yeah.
And then apparently the mom is on drugs. So again, he's neglected. There's not a stable mother figure. It doesn't seem to me to be there's a stable father figure when the dad is the one that bought him the gun.
Yeah, and they never noted it. And again, common sense. There's never school shootings with a legal gun owner.
Which again is so true. And so how do you have miss after miss after miss that could have been caught? And again, I'm not saying it would have completely eradicated this from happening.
But don't you think it goes back to the system is so overloaded that they can't, there's so much mental health issues. Yeah. And that is where that's who we don't take care of in our country.
Correct. That's where we're missing the mark.
Yeah. When you think of our veterans, PTSD, our mental health of our students.
Yes.
We've caused it with the whole 4-year COVID shutdowns, like all that stuff. Who's going to deal with
all of these billions of dollars that go outside of our country? Can you imagine the amount of people we could help?
Yeah.
I.e. this poor child who now can be charged as an adult if we would have kept the money to help our own country first.
Right.
And guns do not kill people. People kill people. Yeah. And more than anything, it's sick people kill people.
Yeah.
And I am here to tell you, you can take the guns away all day long. If somebody is mentally unstable to the point where they are threatening violence in a scenario, he can easily go on Google or whatever, figure out how to, make a bomb.
They got hands. We've been walking around a city and just the homeless population. We've had to move the sidewalk because of some running at you or that. They have other ways. They don't need that.
Yeah. It would have happened and played out in some other form.
Right.
With or without the gun.
Right.
Because mental illness is the main issue in this story that we're not helping with.
Yeah.
Neither here nor there at that point. Also, I think we should touch on in North Carolina, the Harris campaign sending letters to the school.
Unreal.
So did you read the letter, the email?
Did. Yeah.
I mean, so basically, the Harris campaign has sent letters to teachers in school asking that they share this letter with their students under the guise of volunteer help from students. So they would volunteer in some capacity with the campaign, 5 to 10 hours a week, right? Whether that
community service hours.
So the Harris campaign would sign off on community service hours, right? Whether that's door knocking, registering people to vote, working events, which, by the way, if people don't know, that is completely illegal to do that.
Yeah.
But again, that's not election interference.
No.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I feel like every teacher, I mean, I hate to say this because I think teachers are, props to them, but I think they might need to be fired for that.
If that teacher did do that,
Yeah.
Like, took it upon him or herself to share that and try to, rally those. I do agree with you.
Because I know, just like us, we've looked into putting clubs at the high school, and that's an ordeal. I mean, that has to be a volunteer thing. You can't incentivize kids to come. All you can do is put it out there, like, hey, we have this club if you want to come. They prefer to have one of each party so that it's not like this one goes and like, oh, well, for them. So, I mean, there's just so many things about that. So the fact that they did that, I mean, they had to know that wasn't
obviously
okay.
it was not sanctioned by the principal and the school board,
Unless
in
it was. You never know.
Listen, at this point with the teachers unions, you truly never know.
Yeah.
North Carolina is wild.
It really is.
And coming from you taught in school, I taught in school. When I taught in school, no one knew my political beliefs.
No.
Nobody knew who I voted for, who I liked, who I didn't like. And it was actually told to us by the principal that will never be discussed.
Right.
And that is a fireable offense.
Yeah.
Like, I was told that.
Yeah.
So that's wild how far we've gotten in 10 years.
Yeah.
Since being in school.
Crazy.
So, yes. Dare we end on a hilarious,
on a fun high note?
A fun high note. Yeah. Why don't you share? Because we've been saying this since day one. Yep.
The Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce romance.
Oh my gosh. So, okay, what happened? How is this popping up?
So someone at the like ad agency, or what is that called? Like the agency that they use, released documents of how this whole fake relationship was going to play out, what day they would break up, all the things. Like, this was a full on made up publicity stunt.
Called it from day one. We both did.
Which we know they do that in Hollywood.
Right.
They do that for movies. Like, it doesn't matter if you hate each other, you have to kind of play along on this.
Totally.
So this man took it to a whole new level.
Well, because number one, this is a George Soros funded relationship.
100%. It probably was part of the rules to get her music back.
Right.
From George Soros.
So that, I mean, when you look at the bullet points, number one, because they're backpedaling on this like wild. It's fake. This is fake. I mean, who just pulls that fake out of thin air?
Yeah.
First of all.
Yeah. And if you really look back at how all of Taylor Swift's stuff happened with George Soros, this doesn't seem fake at all. And then with him being Mr. Pfizer, who also is backed by Soros.
And he wasn't given the Pfizer contract until after he and Taylor got together. Yeah. Meaning nothing knew about Travis
Not
Kelce.
to mention, if you look at Travis Kelce's history, he's only ever dated black women.
Yes.
And then he went for the whitest of white American, like what?
No, like skinny white girl.
Yeah.
No.
Complete opposite.
Any sense. If you were not in the football NFL realm, nobody knew him. Like,
I mean, I was going to go as far as even saying that's why they made it to the Super Bowl. Like, the whole thing. The whole thing was orchestrated to make it bigger. And someone asked me, like, why? And I was like, I think one reason, number one, they have to get people distracted. This is a great distraction. Number two, they had no way of hitting football fans. Football fans are probably a primarily conservative, blue-collar fan base. Yes. They had to hit them. And that meant getting the wives involved. They had to get that somehow.
Yes.
And this works. And so even though most were annoyed by the whole thing, it did make their person bigger. It made the NFL bigger, like all the things.
More money coming into that organization, to the NFL as a whole. I mean, I think Travis Kelce's Pfizer contract was what?
100 million. 100 million.
100 million is crazy. $100 million to get on TV with a Band-Aid on his arm. Hey, get your COVID shot.
And I would love to know for the probability that he even got that.
Would love to know that. But yeah, it's just, you can just see it playing out, mutually benefited both sides majorly. I mean, her concert tour, how he's been on tour with her.
The interesting thing with this, though, is way back when Biden ran the first time, he used Taylor Swift for his campaigning.
Correct.
She made those cookies. She encouraged everyone at her concerts to go out and to register to vote. She was very vocal about hating Trump and stuff like that. And so they really used her. So we knew all along, and then her tour came. Soros gave her back her music, because remember, he held her music, and she couldn't. He agreed to give it back to her with some conditions. And then she got her music back, so her tour started, which was Monstrosity. The Monstrosity, that tour.
Billions.
So we knew that come this fall, she was going to tie in voting for Biden.
Correct.
But then Biden dropped out. And so now it's all kind of shifted. And then her best friend, Brittany Mahomes, has gotten flack the last 2 weeks for liking Trump posts.
Which is wild. And I am very impressed with her husband, with Patrick, because he has come out full force in support of her and been like, F anybody that doesn't agree, like wants to give you, crap because of who you like politically.
Yeah. Well, the other interesting thing, though, with that is that she said that.
Yeah.
Taylor, they're best of friends. I remember watching an interview with Patrick Mahomes, and they questioned him on him becoming Mr. Pfizer. And he said, anyone that knows Travis knows that he will do anything for money. He goes, so you don't ever have to look at him and think he's actually taking a stand on what he's agreeing to do. He's 100% doing it based on the money amount. And I remember thinking, well, number one, that's super sad, because that shows you have no morals. Like, you have no stand at all.
We know
But
this.
then also, what did he take? Did he take that $100 million so that he could get Taylor Swift and do that whole, like, what did he get paid to do this whole charade for a year?
Because that's a lot. I mean, that's a lot of your life, right? Like, that's
a lot of your life. But look how big he made him.
Oh, yeah. I mean.
And he's a guy. Does he care?
Be real. No. So we need to just start betting on now the actual date that they will break up.
What did that paperwork say? Like the 16th or something? Is it the day after Trump gets sentenced?
Oh, okay. Yeah, pretty close. It's pretty close.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah.
To say the least, on all fronts.
Yeah.
But we totally called it. I was like, I mean, I have family that are like the girls in my family. They're huge Swifties.
Yeah.
And I'm like, listen, the first few albums were great. I do give that to you.
I did say that too.
The last one is garbage. But this whole Travis Kelce piece, it's totally fake. I love all of you. I say this with love in my heart. This is faker than fake.
Yeah.
The end. Goodbye for Travis and Taylor Swift.
100%.
Yeah. So, dude, we crushed it today. Again, another week where we're like, we are going to have a short show, and it ends up.
Yeah, we actually tabled 2 things, so we'll come back to those next week.
We definitely will, because I think, just to tease a little bit, RFK Jr. has done such a great job over the last few weeks rolling out all of the things, health-wise, food-wise, children disease-wise, that he wants to work on.
Yeah. Did you see his letter yesterday? I loved his letter yesterday when he said, people keep asking me, should I vote for you in the states that you're on the ballot? And he came out and he said,
yes,
if you want me in the White House, you need to vote for Trump. You do not vote for me. You've got to vote for Trump. If you want me helping Trump and in that White House, this is what we have to do. We have to win. And I just love that so much.
I think that just shows, again, his characters,
There's no ego there.
None. He's like, listen, I have to do it for the greater good and like taking care of our children and country. And I think that's a testament to, for sure, top tier character. So,
alrighty.
And you've got to go. Do you have a conference today?
We do.
I know Melanie's probably like, you got to go.
It's early here still, so.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you're okay. Okay, that was you got up an hour earlier
I did.
to stay on Eastern
Actually,
time.
we didn't. We slept terribly in this hotel room, so we were awake.
Okay, great, fair. Well, enjoy St. Louis, and till next
Till
Friday.
next week. See you
Okay.
later.